his reaction was, "Oh, how are we gonna keep up with this?" Like
That's not
this,
good.
like exhausted.
What's up, man?
I kind of turned a corner with a client where at the start of the week, so a bit of background, it was a company and the CEO was very enthusiastic about AI, wanted to do AI stuff. And so I go in, I spend about a month and look at the processes and come back with a proposal. And I did the proposal this week. And the reactions were just really good, up-to-date reactions to where the market is and where the technology is. If you spend a lot of time like we do consuming the content all the time, you build up that that base of knowledge, through repetition and learning little bits at a time.
Layered context.
If that's not your main thing, even if you're enthusiastic about it and using ChatGPT, it moves really fast, and if you're in it every day, you don't really notice how much it has changed in just the last few months. It's kind of like when you don't see a kid for a year or two. They're 2 feet taller. They look like a completely different person. But if you see them every day, you don't see that. That is actually what I'm seeing kind of from meeting to meeting with clients. And it's just it's
People
gone
don't
from
know how to use it. They don't.
It's gone
know...
from a curiosity to a panic.
Yes, a little bit for sure. And it's not too late for people to start picking it up. But if you've not kind of follow along with the iterations and especially with these coding platforms, it can seem like it's overwhelming, but it's as simple as just having the conversations. These chats build on each other. It can help you learn about it, helping you just solve your problem. And if you would just start with, the kind of core issue that you're having that you want it to work on with you and work from there, you can get a good decent way just doing that.
Yeah. Well, and it's use it, right? You can watch a lot of videos. And the thing is that AI impacts everything now, right?
Yep.
It's not like you say for coding. Coding is in my opinion, special, and in the opinions of the big AI labs, special in that you're building the thing that builds the thing with AI, right? So it's hugely important. And why is that important to a business owner or anybody who uses software? Is the pace of change specifically in software and what it can do and what your options are is now incredibly fast as well, which is also, that means what you maybe wouldn't have done or built in-house or had custom built, you might consider that now, right? Which again, just adds to the pile of immediacy and change, where it's like before, it used to be like, we're going to spend the next couple months deciding whether we're going to do this 2-year project.
Right.
Now it's like, you got 5 minutes. Do you want to build this? We'll have it done by the end of the week. Yeah.
And a lot of what's going on is these companies are working towards a completed workflow. Everything from, customer inception all the way to final closeout of things. These workflows are getting automated. And if you kind of lag behind, you're going to fall in efficiency and therefore lose huge market share.
Yeah, it applies at the company level, the management level, all the way down to the individual level, right?
Yeah. And even company-wide training should be a thing these days. Like having somebody come in, teach people like what a skill is, why it's important in their work, And then even some of these platforms that I've been helping some people create, I've done a skill library so that if somebody in the organization learns something and creates a skill that works well for their job, they can share it across the entire organization.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny, the different I had 3 conversations this week. One was this I don't know if there's necessarily one good order to do it in, but so here's a CEO that believes enough in AI and, hey, we really got to do this. Did this presentation, here's what we should do. And I've been working with them for a while, so it's building on what we've done, but really taking it to the next level, which is, okay, now that we've got this basis in place, we're going to expose those business processes and data to your desktop AI and AI workspace, which can be Claude Cowork, Claude Cowork, which is their specifically for business desktop app, or OpenAI's Codex, and there's a bunch of them out there. Those are obviously the big ones because it comes with the model. And as you know, I believe the next work environment is going to be these AI workspaces.
Yeah.
It's going to replace the browser, right? And so that's sort of where we're at right now, which is we've got that infrastructure in place. We have that secure common data model where you can now take all the disconnected systems, and now you can just get the system of record version of whatever back. And that next level is, okay, and I've been using it for support, which is you can ask any sort of detailed question about any of the records in the business. And if you've used ChatGPT or any of these tools, you get it. It's like it consumes a bunch of data and it comes back with a helpful answer. And so that's where we were at. And I've been talking about, so the next step is, it's not just this new web page that they need to go and use or a new app that they need to sign into. It's now, whenever there's a question about something that's in finance, maybe some edge case, trying to figure out this invoice, this payment, etc., is, well, you just open up your Codex or your Cowork and
just
say,
ask.
What's the status of project 123, this invoice? You just ask.
And there's an argument for a user interface in some cases. And I know that's kind of something we touched on last time, was like this UI versus conversational interface. Like when I'm riding in the truck as a tech and I'm like needing to find this person's place and pull up their address and punch in some information so that it exists, in the app, there's some sort of interface that needs to be there for that. But obviously the best button is no button at all. So like what combination between conversational interface and kind of mobile UI that allows, the best production?
I mean, I think it's settled as far as interface. It's chat, which you can do with text or voice, right? I mean, that's how my wife and I communicate now, right?
Right.
Voice into Messenger.
Yeah.
And then, so, and obviously that's getting adopted pretty heavily, the chat interface, and it makes sense, right? And then it's, so obviously, I've thought a lot about this, is what are the things that you need to interact with the machine, right? It's, you either need to confirm that something's correct or not, or you need to do data entry.
Yeah.
Or you want to consume it to for the sake of persuasion, whether it's for sales or for a business strategy, I need to go and like research, right? Hey, go and get all this information so that I can then take that, so I can probably compress it into a deck so I can go and make a sale or persuade my board or my colleagues or my boss or whatever. Those are like, that's pretty much it, right? Now, if you're in the data entry side, sorry, go ahead.
I'm thinking because I'm in the construction space, it's like we do building plans so that way, I can explain to this guy, this wall is moving 6 inches. Oh, what wall? And it's like, you don't want that conversation to get messed up. Like, so there's still like a level of like, I guess, picture's worth 1,000 words, right? How much picture and how much
images,
word, right?
So that's in the data entry, right? What is the information that needs to be in the system to make a decision going forward, right? And so uploading photos, videos, for sure. Yeah. And we're getting the data into the system. And if it's just walking around, you're taking pictures of whatever. And whether you need to actually upload that explicitly or all the images from your phone, get sucked into the system. Yeah.
What do you think about these world models? Have you heard about that at all?
I've heard of them. I haven't done, I don't know how much of a deep dive you can do into them, but I think they're still very nascent.
Yes. But they're interesting. I guess it's more spatially oriented, and it has to do with, understanding objects and
one question I have is, sometimes the impression I get is that world models are focused on the physical world.
Right.
For the purposes of robotics. And things like that. And if that's the case, then that makes sense. Sorry. If that's the case, then that makes sense. That you just teach it physics and then give it a visual of what you're doing. And then, so
it's I guess going to go in tandem with the LLM, I would imagine. I mean, that's how we mentally process things, but certainly there's a visual aspect and an understanding of kind of physics, Yeah,
I mean, again, I don't know what the claims are out there.
How humans think.
If it's the physical world, that seems pretty intuitive to me, right? This is physics. Like, computers have been able to model a bouncing ball or math and all the things that's needed to model something in the physical world. That doesn't seem like necessarily a new feat. And if you were to say, let's apply how LLMs work under the constraint of don't reproduce an existing plan,
right?
But rather, walk through the logic as opposed to pre-existing nodes in a network, right? Like an LLM would do. But I'm not sure, unless I'm missing something. I don't know if there's like a world model for the not physical. Are they saying that they can just take like the principles of physics and how humans interact and therefore be able to produce creativity? Like, is that what they're talking about? Because the idea is that LLM can't really do creativity. Right? Tell me about the Grand Theft Auto.
So they were like, I don't know if they were the first one, but there's this whole world and you kind of just roll through it and pick up cars, and it's just kind of like an ever-evolving game, and there is no they have a storyline, but it's kind of where they branched off from playing a video game to like run through the the steps of the game, what have you, and it's just kind of like a free-for-all world that people kind of log into and grab cars, and they have these
the metaverse.
Kind of a metaverse. And it's pretty crazy involvement from Pong to, these. And I guess the new one that's coming out is supposed to have AI in it. So it's going to be like self-generating and kind of learning you and then reacting to you in a way. And I'm curious to see
that
how
kind
that
of makes
works.
sense at this point. Like
Yeah.
when I go in to buy my new sword and shield from the shopkeeper in the game, they don't necessarily, they don't. At this point, I would expect it to remember me if I've been there a few times, right? Like,
Not this guy again.
If ChatGPT can do it, like it should be able to say, "Oh yeah, you bought this weapon last time." So being able to use that type of technology in a game, I would almost assume that now.
Yeah.
But I know. Oh, another thing about the world models is using it for gaming, where they're actually now. Games are obviously rendering on the fly.
Yes.
That's always been the case. But they're talking about like dynamically creating the world
New
in
world
real time. Where you could just keep walking forever towards something, right? And it's not a bounded world anymore. Where, so Grand Theft Auto would go from Vice City to
the United States of America,
the Vice Keys, and then get on a plane and then fly over to Europe or whatever, right? And which again, I would say still that only seems like a limitation of storing the whole thing in memory. Like you can still that still doesn't seem like I need to make it up as I go along if it's some real world thing. If I want to program it. Like, is there actually going to be a case where, as a game developer, I don't want to be in complete control of the thing the person sees next?
Yeah.
Like, so I don't know. Again, I don't spend a ton of time. I mean, there's only so much you can consume.
Yeah.
But
have you ever been in VR or any of that stuff? Because that stuff's coming. I feel like the glasses are coming. Now it's a
we've
long
been hearing
ways
it's been
off.
coming for a long time.
It's a long ways off, but if you've ever been in the glasses and like showed up at City Hall and met people from a different country and hung out with them and went over to their place and like it's insane.
So you have done this?
Yeah. I hung out with a guy for an entire afternoon. He was a movie director somewhere. And in his world, he had this whole movie set that he had self-animated, and he spent 3 years. And so he walked me through this whole storyline that he had built, and it was just mind-blowing. And, like, he's spending time in it. So there's people that are building these things out. What application?
Like, where is this?
So it's in the metaverse. So they have these kind of generic, like, city halls that you can kind of pop into, and it's kind of like, a lobby's a bad way to explain it, but you can go there and then from there there's these doors to like go into another game.
Yeah, hold on, you got to go back.
Okay, sorry.
This is a virtual environment that you're talking about. So
yeah.
Where are you physically? Like, walk me through from when you say I met this guy in this place. I don't know.
Okay.
How did it start? So I'm in my living room.
Yeah, and then I'm in my living room and I stick my goggles on.
Okay, right. This is what I was not getting.
And then you kind of sign into your own space, and then you decide, what am I going to do here? And you go, let's go meet some new people. So you bump over.
What space is this on? Like a console machine? Is this on your computer?
No, these are like glasses. These are like Oculus goggles. Like you put these glasses on, and there's screens in front of your eyeballs.
And this app is built into the actual goggles, or it's connected to your computer or a console or something?
In the goggles.
Oh, so this comes batteries included in the goggles.
Batteries
this whole
included.
Experience.
In fact, I have an attachment that adds an extra battery on the back of it so you can stay in longer. And it even has like a cooling system to like cool you off.
Are you getting like a big jack neck?
No,
holding your head up?
No, they're not too heavy. It's just, like batteries and all of that processing, I'm sure. But the concerts, you can go to concerts there, and they're starting to do these VR concerts. They're starting to do sports like if you want to go check out a football game, like it's like you're on the sidelines and I can look left and I can look right and I can see the guys and I can hear this guy talking to me and I can like it's insane.
But
like
what does it look like?
It looks like you're there.
Yeah, it looks like you're there, or like it looks like you're there.
It looks like you're there. Like it's freaky. Like I have a couple recordings of my buddy Tom. We stuck him in these things, and his reaction is just awesome. He's just like freaking out. Like what is happening? Where am I at? What is going on? And you got to stop people because they'll try to like walk because it feels like you're in this space, and they'll just like hit walls and like break things, and you got to like kind of guard them. But so what it does is it's got this LiDAR scanner in it, and when you put the goggles on, you can see reality around you because it's both VR and AR. So virtual reality and augmented reality. And it uses this LiDAR scanning to kind of map out the space around you so that if you walk outside of the space, the goggles now go back into reality and you don't like run into your living room couch, you know, and then you can pop back in and you're back in this world. I can't believe you've never been in them.
No.
Oh, man.
Maybe I should.
Yeah. I have 2 pairs. So then me and my wife will jump in them and we'll go to a concert together. And we'll go watch, you know, the Magic Dragons and, you know, hang out with some people.
Really? So why is it not picked up? Every time, all I ever read is the death of virtual reality and how it's just not picking up. And I did try the Apple thing, and I'm like, oh great, I have basically I can do what I do on my computer and my iPhone with a 2-pound weight strapped to my face. Like, okay, it's neat. Don't get me wrong, it's cool, but like, I don't get the app. I think that maybe that's the thing. There isn't the killer app for it yet.
Right. So there's definitely construction guys are starting to use it. They're trying to be able to look at something and they can kind of map blueprints out while they got these goggles on. There's companies that are buying the Meta glasses so that the owner can sign in and see what they're seeing. If there's an accident, they can go back and see what happened. What did you do? You know, were you drinking on break? I can tell you. Like,
I did hear one case where it was one of the, I don't know if it was the Meta glasses, but they had a camera basically on the foreman's face somewhere.
Yeah.
And as he's looking around, he's doing a site walk, and the system caught that something was being done out of order. Like, for example, it showed that it knew that the drywallers were coming in on Thursday, but it noticed from the video that the electrical wasn't in place yet.
Right.
And sent a notification saying, oh, hey.
That's what we're going to. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I've even used it in work as well. So I do a lot of photorealistic renderings. So like somebody buys a bathroom and they want to know what it's going to look like before I have to spend all of this money. And I can scan their property in with a LiDAR scanner, and then I take that copy and I download a DAE file, and then I put it into SketchUp, and then I map out the house, and then I take the tile they say they wanted, and I can replicate it from the thumbnail on the tile store, and then I can draw up this rendering, and then Meta has an app that I can get into it, and you can put these goggles on, and I can go, you see your kitchen the way everything is now, and you bump the side of it, and all of a sudden now we're in your new space, and it feels like the countertop's right here, so you get that spatial awareness of like how my kitchen's going to feel. Is this too far away from this? Like, do I like this? Do I want it changed? And I can change it in real time, like while you sit in these things. And I put she must have been maybe in her late 70s. I put her in these things, and like because I was like very cautious. I didn't want to like scare this lady, and I'm like, she's like, I still just can't see it. I'm looking at it on paper and I just don't see it. And I'm like, well, I
try this.
Can bring these over and you can try. And she's like, I'm like, would you be interested? Because I'd love to try it and see if it's something that I can start using. And she was like, yeah, let's try it. And I'm like, okay, cool. So I brought it over. I brought the laptop. I'm showing her around on my laptop first. And I'm like, all right, let's try the glasses.
In her kitchen. So she's in her kitchen.
Yep. And I need to do a video about it because I have the 3D rendering. I have her in these things. And then I have the finished product. Like, we did the job. And it looks identical. Like, it's insane.
Really? That's amazing. Yeah, you absolutely should make that video. I'd love to see that. That's cool. Yeah. So is that like a normal thing these days?
So not at my scale. Like, kitchen and bathroom guys aren't gonna like spend all the time, and I'm a geek and I'm into this stuff. So like, I'll happily spend all night like drawing you a bathroom just to play.
But is it a night or is it like weeks of work to do it?
No, I did a rendering today for somebody, and I think maybe an hour or so. I've gotten more proficient with the LiDAR scan. Literally, I scan your place, makes me maybe 5 minutes. I can scan in a room, a couple rooms, or maybe even the whole place, and then I have a 3D rendering of your place. And then it's as simple as taking that, making a floor plan, extrapolating it into 3 dimensions, and then you're going to these warehouses where it's like, you want a bathtub? Kohler's got all of the bathtubs they sell because they need a 3D rendering of it anyway. And they're just like, if I can sell more bathtubs because you can put this thing here. So they give you all of that stuff for free. You can go grab it and just drop it in and make sure that it's, got its compliance, from either wall. And then you go grab a vanity that you want. And then she gives you a piece of tile and you drop that in there. Now, where it gets a little more complicated is when you get into the photorealistic rendering stuff. So now you're not only drawing it in 3 dimensions, but you're adding textures. And that's why I built that custom computer that I have, is because I'm building the 3D model. I'm rendering it with lighting, with all of these effects so that it looks like a photo, like it's real. And then I'm recording myself doing that. So like, the graphical requirements just like was collapsing my old computer, which was still a gaming computer. So then I just had to, upgrade it to the next best thing. But
yeah, it's and so like the reason I ask, so like, what's your background? Like do you have a technical background? The reason I ask is there's a lot of people out there, which is related to this other employee that I was talking to this week, is it's the mindset, right?
Right.
Of doing these types of things, using these new tools.
Yeah.
So are you have like a technical background? You're a computer engineer?
No.
How did you learn to do all this stuff?
Not at all. I mean, playing video games when I was a kid, I enjoyed Minecraft before it was like on the phones or whatever. And if you wanted to have a cool skill that nobody else had, like I wanted to drive a car around in the game because there was no cars in Minecraft. Well, somebody had made a mod that you could download, and then you have to figure out how you're going to get this file package kind of installed in the game. And so you kind of learn to play with things like that. And then I worked for a designer for, 5 years in Tampa, and I got to work on like Bucks players' houses and some, so it was by MacDill Air Force Base. So like a lot of the military brass out there, and, just, it's Tampa. So there's tons of money that rolls around there, and just got to work around really awesome people that taught me a lot of things. And one of those things was how to do CAD. It was actually a guy that owned a tile shop during COVID, and he would do that for clients to sell tile. And I was just kind of playing with it because SketchUp used to be owned by Google, so it was free. And then when they sold it to Trimble, they started monetizing it a little more, and he was teaching me how to use it. And then I slowly got into the Enscape renderings, live renderings, and I just like learning and playing with that stuff. Anybody can do this. That's the thing. AI has made it to where it's like nobody has an excuse anymore.
Yeah.
Like, what do you mean you can't do it? Yes, you can. Anybody can do anything. It does not matter. Like, you just have to have the desire and will to pick it up and learn.
And, it's not common. Yeah. Or it's not as common as you might think, right? I mean,
it's a shame.
The one of the number one pieces of advice I give to my kids is get comfortable being uncomfortable.
Yep.
Right? Like, you got to be willing to go through that time where it's new and I don't really understand it, but I'm just gonna try again. But that's really hard to do if you don't have the curiosity.
Yeah.
Right? You still gotta like it. If it's like,
yeah.
I don't understand this new technology, but I love technology, and I love learning about technology. I mean, if your job today is, I don't love my job, right? My job isn't my identity. I do it well, and maybe I'm not into technology. That's, first of all, you're going to be in a tough spot. I mean, unless you want to just be, do it for the sake of self-preservation, right?
Right.
Where you're just I'm just going to grind it. Right. Yeah. Well, that's the thing. I mean, good luck having a job that
touches everything,
that isn't going to require learning new stuff. And honestly, from my experience, especially right now in this moment, if you try to understand and synthesize and really internalize how these models work and all the technology and everything like that, it's like, you know what? Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
It really doesn't matter, right? No. It's just, it does some really fantastic shit that it couldn't before on your computer, right? And now it's just like, look, you probably use your computer every day. You probably open your browser and you do all your stuff in there. You probably do a lot of stuff on your computer. Well, now just start using this.
Right.
And
so how
honestly,
do you help somebody?
in like a day, if you just say, look, just install this and just try it out. Like, well, I don't understand how it works. Like, ask it.
Right. And people
just ask
and
it.
You're probably in the same predicament that I'm in, like where people come up to you and they're like, how did you know all of this stuff? And it's like, I didn't ask the question. What, you just don't ask questions? You just go through life accepting things for as they are? Like,
I've always really enjoyed technology, and so I started off as doing product management, or at least don't want to go back too far, and working with software developers. And I thought, well, I want to learn to code so I can sort of figure out my own stuff and not have to always go to the development team, say, oh, can you pull me this report? Can you get me this information, or can you help me with this prototype? I'm just like, I want to learn to code. And this was back when you couldn't just ask a model how build this for me. It was actually learning to actually code. And it was, and I had a bit of a technical background. I'd done it a little bit in school, but I wasn't really too interested up until this point. But I really had a notice, like, the value that I could get out of it in my job. And it was, if you just keep moving forward with it, it was like, try to get Hello World. And the best way for me was come up with a real project that I wanted to do, even if it's simple, and then just do it myself. In this case, it was, my wife was on maternity leave, and she was driving around during the day, and she always wanted to find a playground. And she says, I wish there was an app that I could just say, where's the nearest playground? I'm like, okay, well, I mean, look, that's not going to make me a millionaire, but I don't know right now exactly how I would do it. And it sounds like it can't be that hard. Yeah. And it was like, well, and I just thought, okay, well, I need to get all the parks into a database, right? And so I figured out, well, okay, there's the City of Toronto parks. Well, they're all listed there. And so, but I'm like, okay, I need to scrape it. So over like a few nights, I figured out how to scrape this website. I figured out how do I get a database working? How do I get to a hello world on a web page? And if I wasn't enjoying it, I wouldn't have done it. You know,
right.
It was fun, but there was times where I'm just like, I can't figure it out. And then you go to sleep and you wake up the next day and you're like, oh, okay, I get it now. Right. And so many times where I'm like, I don't understand how it works. I don't know how to do it. And that was back when you Googled it, you went to Stack Overflow and you were copying and pasting code. But now the big challenge is, you know, can you actually bring the good questions and the creativity to it, because it's not a barrier anymore.
That's what I posted today.
To create whatever, anything you want.
Yeah. Creativity is the last frontier.
Oh, you know what? And I got a specific example for that. So I wanted to create a new logo for my company.
Yeah.
I had kind of a goofy cartoon logo. I thought it was kind of stupid. So I just wanted, so it's a big robot. So I just wanted like a BR kind of a stylized, like for like an icon. So I was putting my plugin up. I'm like, I don't want to put that stupid robot on there again. I want to do a logo. And I use Codex, so I'm using like the state-of-the-art frontier model. I said, look, I just want, you know, something cool and techy, nice stylized BR logo. And it actually came up with like 2 or 3 sort of what I like. Okay, that's not bad. Let's iterate. And I don't know, maybe after I'll send you some of the screenshots of what it had come up with.
Yeah.
And I tried to get it to do like a vector version, which is basically it can write code to make a vector graphic, right?
Where did you do that? Like Figma?
Well, you can just go to Codex and say, make me an SVG. One of my favorite things if I'm working on a project is when, you know, it starts to get a bit too complicated, and it's, you know, walking through logic or whatever. I can just say, for this module, just create me an SVG diagram of the flow, and it'll create it, and then I get an image. This really helped. So I'm like, oh, you can make SVG, you can make images, right? You can just ask ChatGPT to make me an image. But as soon as you have a constraint, it just loses its mind. Like, and it was so funny because it would say, I'd say, well, no, it's not even lined up anymore. That doesn't make any sense. It would say, oh, you're right. Here, let me go and fix it. You know, 5 minutes later, it comes back and it'll enumerate. Now it's aligned. The colors are correct. And it is now clearly exactly what you want. It's like, you know what?
I got you, buddy.
And
like, what is this?
And I will send you what it's. We'll put it up on the screen, and I just look at it. And so I reply, "Are you pretty proud of that?" I'm like, how does that look to you? And I mean, it just looks like it looks like a Salvador Dali crayon drawing. Like it made no sense whatsoever. And then it's like, you know, because it can also view images and look at it. And I'll say,
right.
Does that look?
What does that look like to you?
Does that look like anything like what we were talking about?
No, not at all.
And it'd go, yeah, missed the mark on that one. Like, missed the mark. You're like there's hallucinating like with the language, but then there's hallucinating like you just like smoked a half pound of peyote kind of thing, right? And like, this doesn't make any sense. I said, okay, ChatGPT, you can't do this. So I'm going to go to Claude, latest Claude model. And I actually went to design, like the Claude design web app, which is like, oh man, you want to do design? Come here. I'm like, okay, I just want a super basic, like sort of monogram
Little
logo,
robot. Can I just get a robot?
Not
please?
even. I just want a stylized BR letters.
Oh.
And I had the original image that ChatGPT had come up with. That was like kind of what I wanted, but I'm like, I want you to make this into a vector. First thing, I just want you to make this into vectors.
Start with vectors.
Man,
always.
It churned for about 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And you could actually see it progressing. I'm like, okay, yeah, like it's not going to be perfect, but I get it. And then right at the end, when it presents the final thing, it was just like, it was like torn to pieces and just like barfed onto the screen. It made no sense. I'm like, what is this?
Like, I tried, bro.
And then I went to Gemini. I tried the same thing. It was they made negative progress on this task. And I thought, man, if you want to find a place where you're going to be safe, like this type of vector creative visual stuff, like even this basic stuff, like it was such a surprise. And you'll see from the images that I'll send you, it was preposterous. And and I'm doing my website, like trying to get to write website copy. It can't do it. It cannot do it.
Our little the download podcast thing. So I had it generate that, but my steps have been just like, give me the image because I know you're better at just like kind of random images, and then I'll take that and I'll just go trace it in Figma myself. I'll just go line trace out the.
That's what I ended up doing. I ended up basically making my own 2 letters, and wasn't that hard.
Yeah.
But I had to learn. Like I don't mess around with vector graphics all day, right? Like,
oh no.
It was a bit of a pain in the ass, but I mean, I get it. It took longer than I'd like, but I didn't have another solution. The other solution would have been go to Fiverr or something like that, and I've tried that before, and I'm pretty convinced they're all AIs anyway.
Yep.
So I'm like, I guess I gotta learn how to draw B and an R myself.
Yeah. Well, then Figma's pretty neat, and kind of my creative process with some of this web design stuff has been like, all right, build me the best website you got, and then it's going to post it, and then you can actually do HTML to vector. Maybe it's not vector. But anyway, it can get it in Figma, basically. You can just take your website and copy it right into Figma, and then I can adjust things inside of Figma a whole lot easier than I can sit here and have a 4-hour conversation about where the logo is supposed to go. When I could just like grab it and put it where the logo is supposed to go, and then it can figure out the math to that and then recreate the site, the live site, you know?
Yeah, once you get to a certain point, I have really enjoyed in the coding apps that they'll actually open whatever you're, like if it's a website, they'll open it right in the app, whether it be Cursor or Codex or whatever, and you can like inspect and annotate right on the website within the app, and you can.
Oh, really?
Which, you know, if you work with the design apps, you create a little comment bubble and say do this, do that. So it just talks directly to the agent. So you can highlight like center this or. Again, I'm so not creative. I usually just say this looks like shit, and it actually usually makes it better when I say that, because I don't know what I want it to look like. All I know is this looks like crap. Right? Mr. Burns, I'm no art critic, but I know what I hate.
And I tried to build a website that was way over my head. But Claude had just come out with a connector for Blender, which is like now 3D stuff, right? So you get the vector, which is kind of 2D, and then Blender is like the 3D, kind of that animation stuff. And I'm like, I've done CAD, and I've actually even taken a Blender class. There's a guy on YouTube. He's like the donut guy, and he teaches you how to make donuts. And he does donuts because they're just odd enough that it teaches you how to use like every single tool in Blender. Because they're like oblong, and they got these little bumps, and then you got to put the icing on it. The icing has drips, but the drips don't follow the donut. They like hang off of the donut sometimes. And then you got the sprinkles, and those are like little objects, and how to kind of like in math just like cast them on the donut and make them wrap around the donut, not just these like flat plane of sprinkles. So it walks you through like a lot of that animation stuff. So I'm like, I can handle this. And I'm like, because I'm doing this app, I want a phone, just like a 3D phone, to like flip into the screen as you scroll down. I want it to just like roll into the screen, and I want it to flip back and forth as it kind of explains the features of the app, right? And I'm like, that's gonna be like a bomb website. And I get it, and it's like tries to chop the I get the phone drawn, but like it tries to chop up the images so that as you're scrolling, it can like scroll in. It was so glitchy and bad. I just finally gave up with it. I'm like, maybe later.
Not long ago, you probably would have been blown away that you could get that far in that amount of time, though.
Yes. Oh,
right?
Yeah. That was an evening project. I didn't waste days on it for sure.
Yeah, and the fact that you got to see anything, right?
Right.
You didn't have to order a book and wait for it to arrive at your house.
No.
It wasn't long ago that's how you learned stuff, right?
Yeah.
Like and so that's the thing. It comes back to curiosity. If you are not curious,
you're in trouble.
You're in a real trouble. Like
Big
in your
trouble.
job, like you got to be. You're either going to be the person that's going to get replaced, but you're not going to
get
get
NPC at this point.
You're not going to get replaced by an AI.
No.
I mean, maybe eventually, but
we're
again,
not there. Yeah.
You're going to be replaced by somebody who basically does your job, but was curious and dove into the tools and can now do 10 times as much work as you.
Right.
And that person, I read today, there was a CEO, I can't remember the name of the company, but he did this is my decision and my decision alone, that we're laying off 22% of our employees. And it was just like, not because we're in any financial trouble, but
the AI washing.
The people who are kicking ass with AI are kicking so much ass.
So much ass, yeah.
That it doesn't make sense to have the people who are not kicking ass are now a drag.
Yeah. You're an expense.
This was a software company, right? Funded a lot of people, probably a little overweight, head count wise. But even still, fine. Maybe they had overhired. You hear that as one of the reasons. COVID overhiring, and now money's not as cheap, so we can offload. And hey, if you can say it's AI, then you look like a genius.
Yeah.
Regardless, they still need to choose who to whack.
Yep.
And if you want to not be the person getting whacked in that scenario, you have to say, like, yeah, I tried this, I tried that. And it's not like you have to be crushing it or that you've mastered the tool. But if nothing else, you want to be the person that said, I tried this, it didn't work. I tried this, it was okay. Hey, have you tried this? You should be, hey, can you sign me up for this? Can I get a subscription to this? I want to try this out. This is interesting. We should be doing this in our department. Are you talking about it in meetings? Are you enthusiastic about using the new tools of your job? Because they are the new tools of your job. There's no question.
You're like walking into a fight with a butter knife, and we all have machine guns.
Yeah, and the being afraid of it. It's like, just
get over it.
Get comfortable being uncomfortable for a short amount of time because it's actually pretty intuitive. If you know your job really well and you get an AI workspace like a Codex or a Cowork, if you get that fired up on your desktop, just download the app. It doesn't cost anything. It looks like a standard app that you've seen before. It's kind of a fancy Chat GPT. And just see what you can do with it. Connect it to your documents. Next time you have a task where you go, I hate doing this, just see if you can get the agent to do it for you.
So I built the app around that concept. The whole premise to it is I don't have an office agent. This is my office agent. AI is now my office agent. And I need to be able to send people estimates. And I want to do it really, really fast. And I've sent estimates to clients while I was still standing in front of them. And then we get to have a conversation about it. And there's a whole like back end structure, and it knows my processes, and I spent a lot of time doing this. And even today, I didn't do it while I was standing in front of them, but like I left, I got down the road, and I put the Claude speech on, and I'm like, hey, I finished this site walk. Here's what happened, yada, yada, yada. I'm explaining it. Go get your site walk skill. Please fill out that. Once you're done with that, let's do the estimate. All right, here's what I got. Nope, I don't like that stuff. Change this, this, that. Okay, here it's changed. Okay, great. Sounds good. Fire it off to them. Fires it to them, and they message me back a little bit later, and they say, hey, we want to move forward with you. We just want to know if you can do this little portion of the job earlier than this other portion. Yep, sounds good. It's like, in that amount of time, like I left no room for anybody else to walk into that situation.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And you're like a purple belt with your AI tools, right? Because like, you know, you had a curiosity, you like to use them a lot. You've probably experimented a lot, found a bunch of stuff that didn't work, found some stuff that did work, double down on the stuff that does work, and make it part of your tool set. These AI tools are not, oh, you can just do my job now. It is just another tool that you can use differently. And it just, honestly, most of the time it just does the stuff you don't want to do anyway. If you're going to make a presentation for a meeting, right, where normally you're like, oh crap, I got 2 hours. I got to get this presentation, or I got to write this paper. I got to write my notes. Just hit your mic button. Just get it out of your head into the system. Say, make these into some nice notes. Oh, as you're reading it through, you're like, that needs some reference, needs a little bit of research. You highlight it. You go do some research. Comes back, you look at the research, and like, nah, it doesn't really apply. Yeah, that like's good. Take this episode, put that in there, blah, blah, blah. And you collaborate with the thing. Yeah. With what you want to get out of it, with your expertise. And now you've got something that in 2 hours for your meeting, what would have taken you, and looks like you'd spent 2 weeks on.
Yeah. And the more that you, the more that you stay in it. And so like, say you take that meeting and you make a meeting skill for doing this mundane task. And then the next time you go to do that same skill and you're just like, man, it's just, now I got to tweak it. Don't like, just go tweak it, and don't take advantage of the opportunity to go back and train it. Say, okay, this is my final product, what I wished it would have looked like and sounded like. Now, how can we build that skill or fix that skill that we were using, so that way I get closer to my, target? And you just do that over and over and over, and it will get better and better and better. And pretty soon you're just like, I got 30 minutes before this meeting, I can pull it off. Hey, fix this, do this, and it just comes back and it's like on point. And that's where I'm at with estimates.
For those that don't know, a skill is basically just a canned prompt. Now, you can do other stuff with it. Like you can have it write a little script or some code that, if it's like, go get this data and loop over it all and do something and build something or whatever. But ultimately, it's like a canned set of instructions that you don't want to type in every time. But it's also, it's similar to meta prompting, which is the way to get the best result is to have a really good prompt that you give the model. Well, the best way to get a really good prompt is to ask the model, where I'll just say, look, I need this. Here's the outcome I'm looking for. I need a document that does this. I need it to get to go do research. Generate me a prompt that I can give to an agent to produce this thing that I want. And it'll create this really nice prompt. Yeah. And one thing which I used the other day, which I thought I was very glad that I could do it, is, you kind of run out of context and you start a new thread. And so sometimes in Codex, I'll be going back and forth. I'm starting over. So I might have like a thread of 5, and maybe I'm doing other things in between. So I got all this big list of threads, and I was like iterating on trying to create so usually what I do is I'll say, okay, let's design something, and it'll ask me questions. And then I'll say, okay, let's create an implementation plan. And I'll start a new thread and I'll say, review this implementation plan to make sure that it's like ready to go. And it'll come back and it would say, oh, I found these 4 issues. If you do these 4 issues, you should be good to go. Like, okay, maybe I got to answer a question, resolve the issue. A lot of times it's kind of like obvious. It has a recommendation, like, fine, fix the plan with the 4 things.
Yep.
And I'm like, open a new one. I go, review this plan.
Try it again.
Comes back, 4 new things.
Yep. And you can build a skill out of reviewing things like that too.
Yeah. So I'm like, well, like, I get it. The review works good. And I'll sometimes go through 5 or 6 iterations where it finally comes back and says, good to go. I mean, every time it comes back and says good to go. But when I get that twice in a row with no changes, then I actually feel confident to go ahead and do it. And so what I noticed was that in Codex, if you right click on one of your chats, it has a session ID. And you can actually go back and look at all your sessions. It's all just stored in the Claude or the Codex folder, and you can see all the chats. You can actually see what's actually being inserted into the context. And there's a lot of filler in there. But it's basically the history of the chats. And so I said, go through like the last 10 sessions and figure out why every time you do a plan review, you can't seem to find all the issues. And I want to create a new skill that's actually going to do it in one shot. So just off you go now, go figure it out and come back with a solution. And it went back and it read all the sessions and it said, oh, here's where it kind of got slowed down here and it misunderstood this. And it's very introspective. And it came back and we made a review implementation plan skill that you use with subagents, and it broke it out into basically the 4 or 5 different types of reviews that it would do. It wouldn't necessarily do all of them every time. And since then, it goes and it does a security review and this type of review and this type of review. And now I just do / review this plan. And huge difference, right? But that goes for any type of work that you're doing. Whatever your daily task is, you got to do it every day, and you can even do it as automated tasks. So you can now create a scheduled task. But that thing you do, that 4 or 5 step thing that maybe you do every morning, collaborate on getting that done in your AI workspace, whichever one it is. Kind of get it close to the way you like it, and then just say, all this shit we just did, make that into a skill.
Yeah. And also having it work on, so I found that there's this like master context little windows. Have you heard of that? When I was talking to it, at some point it said, oh, you're out of slots for this context. And I'm like, what are you talking about? It's like, oh, there's only 30 slots. I'm like, well, what do I have in mind? And it gave me a list of 30 when it's like some crazy stuff that I would have never picked or chosen. And it wasn't anywhere in the settings. Like there's the personalization settings. Maybe? No, I just said master context, and it pulled it up. And then I was working with somebody else on their memory, and I did the same thing. I'm like, do me a favor and ask it to pull up, like, what is your 30 master context? I wish I knew what the name of it was. I'll have to ask, but
this is Claude.
Yeah. And I pulled it up, and so I'm like, I did a whole like brain restructure, and I was like, well, let's get rid of all of that, because a lot of this stuff doesn't need to be sitting in these 30, master slots. Let's make a good majority of these just a skill that you grab as needed, and let's try to keep the persistent stuff more along the lines of what I need to work with you better. And I asked it to help me kind of do that. And so we made a bunch of skills and we kind of cleaned that up. But yeah, even kind of talking with it about how to structure those personalization settings and everything. Yeah.
It's very self-aware. You can have it go and look at my Codex or my Claude directory, and how can I like, look at my memory, look at my skills. Like I had installed a bunch of skills and I realized that it's flat. Like when you load skills into Codex, it's just flat. So it just loads all of them.
Yeah.
And if you go and look at your sessions, you can see at the start of every session is this gigantic wall of text. I'm like, what is all this stuff? And because it's all sort of jammed together in a wall, I'm like, what is all this stuff? It's my skills. And there was no thing built in. I ended up making my own little skill router where I had like maybe 25 of these marketing skills that I didn't use all the time, like, A/B testing or blog writing and all this stuff. And it loaded them as like these 25 or 30 skills and said, I don't need that all the time. And again, I didn't just come up with this. I just had the problem. And then I said, well, how can we do this better? And so we just created a new skill that basically just listed with a link to all the other skills that was just in another folder that I called skill pack. And I put the marketing skills pack, moved all those skill files into there, and then made what's called a marketing router, which is just a skill that says, hey, if you want to do marketing, choose from these marketing topics. So it collapsed basically these 20-something skills into one. But when it only loads into context that one little like index, right? You still see it do that extra hop. It's like, oh, he's talking about marketing. I'm going to go look at the marketing router. Oh, it's blog writing. I'm going to load the blog writing skill. But like, okay, so it took 7 extra seconds. But it's saving, reams of headspace for the AI. But it was I guess the main takeaway there is there's a lot to learn about. First of all, there are things called skills. Here's what they are. Here's how they live on your hard drive. Here's how you can edit them. Here's how you can use them. Here's how you can manage them, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah. But all of that I learned through asking them the AI, right?
Yeah. And the best way that I've come up with explaining the skills is like that movie, that Disney movie, Inside Out. You have these like core memories, the little orbs. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I don't think I saw that one.
Oh man! So there's this movie, and it's a movie called Inside Out, and there's these little characters, and they're all like emotions, and they live inside of this person's brain, and there's these little core memories that like when something crucial happens in the person's life, that it has this little orb, and in the orb it's like the story of that thing that happened, but they like kind of view everything else that happens to the person through these little orbs. But there's only so many that you can have in this like main area, and then there's this like whole like offshoot of like wasted memories, or like memories that are just kind of in the back of your mind or whatever. And it's kind of a good illustration because it's like they're kind of core to your work and what you're working on, and there's only so many slots. And then after, if you just try to add way too many, you fill up that context window, and then you have this like dumping ground where it doesn't process all of the skills, or it doesn't, you're clogging that context window.
And it's early days for memory. Because I was looking at like Codex came out with memories. I'm like, yeah, memory, that's cool. And when you first start using it, and as long as you don't go too far off the reservation, it's actually really cool and it works really well. But if you all of a sudden say, okay, we're going to take this in a completely different direction, like
breaks down.
Let's just say it's got baggage.
Does not
track. It keeps baggage. And so you can actually go and look at the memories. And one thing that I couldn't believe was just how much it was. Like it is like text files after text files after text files. Like there's so much content there that I don't really know how it's using it. But I was trying to get it to forget about how I did something the first way. Yeah. And like I could not I didn't want to wipe all the memories.
Yeah. You should go back and ask if it's got core, if it's got these like core. I'm curious.
I was trying to get it to forget. But yeah, it's new.
Huh.
It's, I think I ended up wiping the memories and starting over.
Yeah.
But
I don't think people realize how much money is being poured into this space and investment. They were saying that, like, in power consumption and water consumption, if AI was a country, it's like the fifth largest country. They said it's like the
I have to stop for a pee break, man. I'm dying.
Yeah.
I'll be right back.
I'm cool to close it down if you are. I mean,
what time is it? Oh, yeah, it's 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
Yeah. You got to save something for next week.
Yeah, it's true. Well, yeah, let's get something on the calendar again. And I think this one went pretty good. What do you think?
Yeah, it seemed like a bit more. Well, I was going to say more structured, but
I was kind of trying to bump off of my little list here, and just naturally as things came up, I'm like, oh, I can grab the Grand Theft Auto thing now.
We kind of segued between, some work-related tactical stuff.
Yeah.
Though I did want to just close with the reaction of the CEO after my presentation.
Yeah. Okay.
He goes, it was pretty long. It was a lot to take in. And really what I was most excited about was, okay, now you can use either Codex or Cowork and just ask it about your real business data.
Right.
Which they couldn't do before. And I was talking about, what Codex was, and I was kind of showing how it worked and how it connected to their data and how it gets controlled. And I really wasn't sure, I was like, oh, are they going to get it or not? But it was actually, his reaction was, oh, how are we going to keep up with this?
That's not good.
Like exhausted, right? Or not like, oh wow, this is great. We can do this. It was almost like too much. And I think I really like these new AI workspace apps because they are kind of familiar, right? And And it's just a matter of just, try it. It's not that bad.
No, not at all.
There were others though that were a bit more keen to try it, that they were a bit more excited about it. But I'm not even sure what to make of that reaction. Right. And it wasn't like, oh, like I'm not interested. And it was like, the tone kind of changed from trying to say, hey, this is something that you should be interested in, to almost like, if we're not 100 miles ahead of where we are, it's an existential crisis. Like, it was such a huge leap, that, and I think there's going to be a lot of that anxiety that, oh my God, we're so far behind. And honestly, things are going to move fast, and there are people who are really moving fast, but it's still so early. You do have the time. You don't have the time to not start.
Right. That's true.
But
the alarm bells are moving, are sounding for people that are not in it. You got to get in it.
But you're not going to be trampled if you aren't.
No.
That if it's not fully integrated into all of your workflows, and that you're spending millions of dollars and it's your only focus. It's just get started, and teach yourself and learn about it and get curious about it, and not just curious reading about it, the news or watching videos, but if you're a CEO, or if you're working in the accounting department or anywhere else, if you work on a computer, just install one of the desktop AI workspaces and try it out.
Yep.
It's $20 a month if you buy the tokens, which you're going to want to do, and see what it can do. Just start trying it out. And you're not, if you haven't done anything, yes, you are a bit behind, but you're not screwed. Right?
Yet. Yeah.
Yes.
Yep. The big thing is you just got to start trying, All right, man. Well, I appreciate it.
Me too. Yeah. Good one. I'll see you next week.